Hello, my name is Kayla White. Quickly, I will go through my lesson plan that I designed for my AP Language and Composition students this year. And what I have titled it is the Rhetorical Modes Project. So I created a Nearpod because I will be tasking students to create a Nearpod presentation as they lecture as a teacher, where they're going to deliver a presentation over the modes and actually present a lesson to the class. So they're going to be using Nearpod as their interactive productivity tool. And with that, they're also going to be designing an infographic for students via Canva, which they will pass out as a handout to students. And then they will also have the opportunity to meet collaboratively via Microsoft Teams in the event that they need extra time outside of school. This is a blended learning environment, and most of this will be done during class time over the course of 9 days. All right, so this is just a preview of my Nearpod that I made just as a little model to show students as they began working on the project. So right here, to initially start this up, I created a little document on Canva, basically as a little title page for the project, showing the different types of modes, and to show them that they can be creative by adding imagery and different tables or charts, etc., to engage their students. And then I embedded a video, and we won't watch the entirety of this video, but it does break down what the rhetorical modes are and why they're very important. So I'll play this for a brief moment.
Complex rhetorical mode. Now, rhetorical modes.
Okay, I have embedded a couple of multiple choice questions to show students how to use formative quizzing as an engagement tactic when they are trying to teach a lesson. And so I've also embedded a video and incorporated how to trim it, and then ask questions, of course, within it. So, and then there's a little bit more here. But for the sake of time, we'll go ahead and move on. I have also incorporated the PDF into my presentation of the information where students will need to find the directions and the outline of the schedule and the methods of development, as well as a template which could prove helpful when students are designing their lesson plans, and the rubric, as well as a checklist, a reflection, and an extension option. So that is the entirety of the presentation here. But to get into the meat of my lesson, students have to, in AP, argue effectively and learn the modes in which to organize their arguments. And so I decided that it would be really cool this semester to have students each be grouped in a collaborative group, and have a specific method of development to cover and teach to the class. So I integrated a few technology productivity tools, such as the Nearpod, and of course Canva, and the collaborative setting of Teams to enhance this and make it more engaging for students. So what I found that I really liked was that students really engaged in this and took ownership in this activity. They wanted and had very crucial buy-in to learn how to argue and to know these rhetorical methods, because they're going to be tested on them. And so they got to be in an authentic setting where they were actually able to teach the students what they've learned. So they did their own research, created a Nearpod presentation, including formative quizzes, videos, polls, anything to strike engagement. They had to present a handout of the characteristics of each mode via a Canva infographic with printed copies to all the students. They had to include strategies for identifying the mode and analyzing the author's use of the mode. And they also had to reference and use 2 essays in which they had some autonomy in choosing for the students to look at, read, and analyze the mode. They also had to provide a quiz that would pertain specifically to the mode, and then write out a short 1 to 2 pages writing assignment in the mode that they chose. So I've provided steps here for each of the students to follow. I've provided the methods of development and possible text that they could choose if they wanted to, already pick from a very specific segment of provided text. Also, they had autonomy in choosing ones that they found more engaging or more familiar. Each had a writing assignment that went along with it. And then by day 9, they are reflecting and debriefing. This lesson plan template I just added in here as a helpful resource, something that all teachers can use. And then here's the rubric broken down by points. The delivery is where we see Nearpod being employed and incorporating those differentiated learning styles. And then I have given them, when I assign this, I cut these out into slips and had them use them for a checklist and then reflect on the process of the project, distributing the project or presenting the project rather, because I found it interesting that a lot of students found that by reteaching the concept, it made it easier and more attainable to understand. So that was really neat. And then, of course, how they felt employing Nearpod and Canva, these digital tools. Were they able to, get over any misconceptions or barriers hindering their understanding? And then, of course, being able to give me some feedback and, if I were to assign this again. I also provided an extension where students could pick 2 methods of development and write an essay where they argue their position if they were feeling, exceptionally wanting a challenge. So this is essentially what my lesson plans and project pertain to. My role as a facilitator during this process and an observer and a helper through the process of scaffolding and providing assistance and immediate feedback. That was my main goal. The presentations were actually rather very well done. Something that could potentially be changed next time that I implement this would be to maybe give my students and myself more time. Maybe let this be like an ongoing semester-long project where it's not done in such a hasty time frame, but rather maybe 1 a week per, the first 7 or 8 weeks of school. And that would, allow us to kind of work with one of the modes specifically for a little while and then get to know another one. And so there's not so much to learn in one small amount of time. But other than that, I really found that this is something cool that I would do in the future. And hopefully my students learned from this as well. Okay, thank you.